Well, there's no apology either. They don't do any backpedaling. It's pretty much they remain silent. It's kind of like Nancy Pelosi with Senator Omar, her remarks. She really didn't make any comments to say, she did make a comment, actually basically covering for her, saying that she didn't intend for it to fall out that way or say what she said. She really didn't mean it for the entire group of people, which would say that she was saying it to a specific amount of Jews, but not to the entire Jewish community. It's just this ridiculous Democratic Party that people have linked themselves with that, stands for death, literally. They're killing babies at 6 months, 8 months, and they don't care. They don't flinch. They don't blink an eyelash. They know people are making millions of dollars off the killing and brutal killing of babies every single day and making makeup off it and all sorts of nutty things. But it's legislation that hurts minorities, legislation that hurts our country further. And gosh, if they have their way, Megan, we're all going to be living in a socialist state.
It's pretty scary. It's pretty scary. I've been really grateful to hear some amazing voices on the right. I don't know if you're familiar with a woman named Candace Owens. If you've watched any of her videos.
Yeah.
She is just amazing. And she's talking about spearheading a movement she calls Blexit, which is the black exit from the Democratic Party. And she's primarily speaking to conservative African Americans. But what she has to say is good for the entire country. She is speaking truth to power.
That's it.
And she has, she's felt the wrath from it. She understands. She actually started on the far left. And one day she said she just woke up and realized how hypocritical it all was. And she was able to, have her eyes opened, and she's on the other side now. If you have a chance to look her up, she is remarkable. She did speak at CPAC. Love to hear her. She has a tremendous following.
Yeah, I think I've seen some of her videos. Megan, how can people get behind For the People?
You know what? We have a GoFundMe page right now. You can go to GoFundMe and look up Keith Allen. Keith, Keith, Allen, Allan. Search Keith Allen and look for that American flag logo that says For the People. Click on that and you can support us that way. That's a huge support. However, if you're not in a position to donate financially, you can help us by sharing the link. And if you're concerned about sharing it on your public page for what people will say, you can instant message it to people who you know have a conservative view. You don't have to worry about taking the heat. Just send it privately to those people who you know support that conservative view.
That's a good
point.
We're
also working on a YouTube channel that'll be up and running shortly. We're going to get a Twitter account going. We're going to have a full social media support to really get you out there. I miss your voice, and I'm excited to get you back on the air.
Well, and you're hashtagging all different groups, and so they'll be able to hear this point of view, which is terrific. And so no telling where this ends up. And it also will create new awareness for past and present For the People listeners, given the fact that For the People has been such a staple on radio and the internet and shortwave radio for so many years. So we're praying that the right ears hear it, new people get involved with this, breathe some new life in to the broadcast, because I really feel like we have a fight ahead of us, Megan. I just sense just how things are right now in Washington, where we have to really get ready for a fight. But because I tell you, I think the Democrats are going to really pull out all the stumps, and they did. They tried, as they will. But I don't think it's time for conservatives to let their guard down. I really think that we need to be in the know. And we have to immobilize, just as people mobilized to get Donald Trump in the office. The same thing. New numbers come out, numbers come and go. We saw numbers, and a lot of times these numbers from these research groups are erroneous because if we do believe in those numbers, it showed that Donald Trump had no chance to become president.
Right. I remember the images from the Hillary Clinton campaign of people sobbing, absolutely emotionally distraught, sobbing because they were told for months that there's no chance she could lose. Well, it's an election. There's always a chance someone can lose.
Well, there's a great thing in our country, and you know what it's called? It's called patriotism.
Yes.
There's real patriots. And listen, patriots come in many colors. Okay? Patriots are red, white, and blue through and through. It's not party lines. It's what's right for the country.
Absolutely.
And they will vote their conscience, and they will vote the right person in. And I'll tell you something. I believe this. Franklin Graham went to every capital. Do you remember that? Every capital.
Yeah.
And prayed. And people came out by the thousands, and maybe the hundreds in some places, but mostly thousands of people would gather at every capital. He made it his mission to pray for this country, to heal our land, to get our country in better standing. And people prayed, and I believe that God heard those prayers. And I believe he answered them. And I'll tell you, people say, well, do you think that Donald Trump's a perfect man? Nobody ever said he was a perfect guy. I don't know any perfect person other than one, and you know who that is.
Absolutely. There's no such thing as a perfect man or a perfect woman.
Other than Jesus.
But Donald Trump, we all felt was the man for the job, and it's just devastating to watch the news just display him as such a horrible person. When the rest of us were looking at his actual accomplishments, things have just improved and improved. And the left is ready to fight. It wasn't a surprise at all for me to see on my news feed today that Nancy Pelosi has just come out in favor of giving illegals the right to vote.
Say that again, please. That's worth repeating.
Yes, just on my news feed as I was coming here to take this phone call, Nancy Pelosi is now supporting giving illegals the right to vote.
And what state does she live in?
You know what? You might have to educate me on that. I don't know what state.
No, that's okay. She lives in a very big state out west, and it's called California. Oh, yeah. And it's no wonder, because most of those folks out there that are illegals didn't come out of the shadows when Obama said, you can come out of the shadows. You can get counted. You can get on the books, and you can come out and not be afraid. Remember that? But they didn't. And Pelosi knows it. But here is the Democratic Party realizing that when she does this and says this, she will be able to garnish most of that vote. Okay, illegal votes. Listen, it's no wonder you get dead votes, okay, because dead people still vote, as you know. Then you get illegal immigrants voting, and they have voted, and it's the past election they did vote, and it still didn't work, by the way. But listen, this is the kind of tactics that the Democrat, and they're doing it front and center. They're not even hiding it. It's right there.
Yeah, it's not something they're doing abashedly anymore.
And do you think it's fair? Do you think it's fair?
It's so completely unfair. This is the United States of America. Our forefathers fought for our freedom, fought for our borders. We should have a right to protect them.
You know, they laugh at Donald Trump and scoff at him about the walls, but I think he's on to something. Listen, we know we got these gangs coming in. We know we got drugs and the opioid crisis going on, which there's a different angle to that. We're going to talk about that in the epidemic, but also the negative fallout from people that actually really need it. We'll talk about that coming up, Megan. But the bottom line is the Democrats are taking the Democratic Party to the most extreme left. And you thought you saw that with Obama, but I think this is far worse than Obama. I think that the people that are running right now are just going to take us into a cesspool. They even want to rewrite the Constitution. Did you hear Cory Booker? Cory Booker is running for president, by the way. And he's going on saying that the Founding Fathers wrote bigotry into the Constitution, and we need to amend the entire Constitution.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean,
that is a new tactic, in my opinion, and I don't mean to be inflammatory, but as I watch it occur. Is that not civil war?
Well, for patriots that know they have to do the right thing, and it could be. And listen, they say, you know what? If you don't learn from history, history is doomed to repeat itself.
Oh, absolutely.
And I believe it.
Question. It's so surprising to me how people can be convinced what's normal. whatever they've grown up with is what's normal. And I can remember a few years ago on the subject of abortion, when I had said in jest, gee, why wait till the baby's born? And now you see what's occurring in New York. They're making these laws that abortion up to the due date and after, with this famous quote, the baby will be kept comfortable until the mother can make her decision.
Frightening.
I can't get my head around that. That is murder. I don't understand how you can have another name for it.
You know, they call it all in the protection of women. So a woman has a right to choose to do what she wants to do with her fetus. And by the way, the real name is baby. It's nice that they have the Latin word, but, you know, it is a baby. And listen, this is a conservative point of view. And I don't understand why it just has to be a common sense. I don't understand why conservatives have to have this kind of thought. Why can't just it be universal and people say, oh, yeah, maybe we shouldn't do that? And it's kind of funny for anybody that says that they want to go ahead and have the abortion on demand, no matter how old or young that kid is. It don't matter. That person's breathing. And they're only breathing because that mother decided to have that child.
Right.
And it's kind of an oxymoron in a way for somebody to be against life. But you know what? There's something evil about that. And there's something, I got to say it, something very evil going on with the Democratic Party. I really sense a real evil over that party. Not to say that the Republicans, there's not, some players in the Republican Party that not doing things or saying things, but I would find that the lesser of the two evils, certainly the Democrats, man, are just crazy and getting crazier. And I don't know if it's something in the water they're drinking. I have no idea what they're taking, but they need to sober up and they need to do it quick.
It is pretty scary, and I think one of the reasons that Donald Trump did win the vote is because he doesn't really play for either team.
No.
He goes right down the middle, and he makes judgments based on a moral compass, which is sadly lacking in a lot of people's decision-making.
All right, here's some numbers. $460 we've raised, and I'm optimistic because is that about a month's operating cost? Or what would be a month of operating for the people, Megan?
True shoestring budget, about $1,000 a month. We can do it for less, but we can't get back on Spreaker for less than that. And Spreaker is that podcast forum that you had used previously.
Well, we're on it right now live. We're on it live. I'm paying for it today.
You are, Mr. Allen, you have done so much of this show out of your own pocket. And I know that your listeners are so devoted, but I know they're also tired. We need a bigger listening base. So if you like the show, I'm going to steal your line. If you like the show, share the show. Help us get a bigger listening base so we can continue sharing the conservative point of view with a larger base of people who really want true news.
If 10 people gave $100, that's $1,000.
Oh, my goodness. And I would break it down in today's economy. I would break it down even further.
Yeah.
Some people gave $50 to put $1,000 in an account. That would be just fantastic. But I'll tell you what, though, when I go over to our page to check progress, because I check it pretty regularly, when I even see a jump of $5, that makes me really happy.
It truly does, because, your money is going to go directly towards the broadcast. Unlike, some other bigger conglomerates that might do this, they have very heavy operating budgets when they're raising hundreds of thousands of dollars. To run.
That when you're doing this show, when you typically do a 1-hour show, we've talked about this before. It takes 3 to 4 hours for you to do the research. To research, by the way, which is what people do when they want to make sure they're presenting the truth.
Yeah.
Other networks will pay a research analysis about $50,000 a year to do that. And Mr. Allen, what have you been getting paid to do this broadcast?
Nothing.
Exactly. This is just out of a patriot's duty to do it, and we so appreciate it. And, we're not really looking to get paid very much. We're just trying to cover the operating costs and
that's it.
Be able to bring news. Mm-hmm.
Relevant information, relevant information that, you can apply to your everyday life and be able to pass the message along and be in the know. A lot of people are working, more than one job or just getting by, and they just don't have